And again, as we spoke in previous episodes about periodization and phases, you're not training like that all year long. So please, people, don't try to do these fancy things that everybody else is doing. Weigh it out first. Is this a benefit to you? Is this going to be conducive to what you're trying to achieve with your body in this current stage? And is it conducive to your current fitness level?
There's some stuff that are being posted that it's obvious that these guys and girls, they just want to get the views. They're just putting out exercises that, which is whatever. But please just be smart. Like, fancy doesn't mean it's effective. And fancy, just to get views and stuff like that. As a fitness professional, if you have a following and you're a fitness professional, you have to really watch what you're posting sometimes. Because it could hurt other people. Because sometimes, and there are a lot of people who would try to follow your.
Welcome back to Behind the Strength. I'm Christian Alvarez.
And I'm Carlo Bellagese.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for listening. And if you're new to this podcast, we are two entrepreneurs who have a fitness and therapy business that we built from the ground up. It was our 8th year. We literally started with nothing in a 1,200 square foot facility. Mm-hmm. Now we are a multi-million-dollar business with a team of about 40 people, growing into a second location in the next month and a half. So we're going to be doubling up our team in no time. And for those of you guys coming back, thank you very much. If you guys want to, connect with us, they can connect with us and see us through.
Hit us up on Instagram at strengthnu, STRENGTH, the letter N, the letter U.
We appreciate all the suggestions you guys have. So we take a lot of suggestions from any podcast topics or anything you guys may want to cover, any questions you may have after listening to one of our podcasts. So we definitely invite you and welcome those things in. But anyway, let's get to the nitty-gritty today.
So what are we talking about today,
We're going to talk about something that really bothers us. It's like a pet peeve. It's all these people in the gyms that do these fancy exercises or fancy moves, and the risk to reward ratio just doesn't balance out. So today we're talking about the risk to reward ratio when it comes to exercise.
Okay.
And what this means is when you're doing an exercise, you have to weigh out what the benefits of this exercise is, what are the targeted muscles, how are you actually stimulating the body in comparison to the risk that's involved. So such risks.
So pretty much what you're saying is the movement you're doing or the exercise you're doing conducive or the best option for the outcome you're trying to get?
Yes. And is it the safest option you can go for that?
Is it safe? Is it effective?
Is it safe? Is it effective? And does it weigh out the actual ratio of risk to reward, right? Mm-hmm. So you always want to have your meter where the reward is higher than the risk. So let's just say, take for example, a lateral raise, a simple lateral raise, right? The risk to reward ratio, the risk ratio is very minimal. The reward ratio, because it's an isolated exercise, is very high, mm-hmm. right? So that's like a 9-2 on a 10 scale, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to look at something like the upright row with a barbell. You've seen this old school 1980s. Arnold them used to do it. Pull right up, above the chin.
Some people do it above their above their eyes,
face. And
man.
You could just see do that again. Look at if you guys watching right now, just have even a look at his wrists and what's going on with the shoulders. So we'll explain a little bit something about this right now.
This is how I eat.
So for the person that's doing an upright row like that high, I'm going to tell you right now that you have a higher risk to hurt yourself than the reward you're actually getting.
You know what's funny? It's such a simple exercise that you just talked about, the upright row.
Yeah.
But when I first learned the upright row, I learned it from a bodybuilder. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you got to do this. The moment I did it, I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of, am I doing it wrong? There was a lot of pain in my wrist and a lot of pain in my shoulders. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just the nature of the move and this is what it is. I didn't really think about how it was hurting me.
So I want to cover something about that. So exactly the reason why a lot of people, so let's go back to why people have pull up. They think that, pulling up all the way gets more muscles involved, gets a good squeeze on the shoulders, and it's doing the full range of motion. Now, we've always preached for years to trainers and clients alike, there's such thing as a full range of motion, and then there's a such thing as an effective range of motion. So meaning after a certain point, actually in an upright row, anything above that lower, chest region, what you're doing is you're actually just taking your, your shoulder joint, and you're just kind of. So what's happening right now when you're doing a rotation in your shoulder, you have a heavy weight, whatever it may be, 60 to 80 pounds. And then as you're passing that point of neutral of that 90 degree, so what starts to happen is this ball and socket joint, you're pushing the ball into the socket like this with weight. So it's a weight bearing exercise. And now what you're doing is you're actually grinding away at that joint and all the connective tissue. So imagine of years and years of doing that, and the reason why a lot of people have shoulder pain, right? Another perfect example of that, touching all the way down to your chest of a bench press.
Yeah, I could
right?
never do that either.
Right? And again, if you're a power lifter and you have to do it, well, sure. But if you're an average person who's trying to just get fit, live well, whatever, the actual benefit of dropping all the way down below the 90-degree mark is actually a lot more dangerous for you. Because at that point, in actual fact, you're shutting off a lot of your pec major, and you're putting a lot of that, strain and stress on the rotator cuff, which, as you know, is a very, very small group of muscles.
But even that's like a very highly argued subject too.
100%.
Right? So many people have different things. Like, yeah, I'll do a light tap on your chest. Some people said don't even go lower than 90 degrees. There's that elbow positioning as well.
Well, the thing is with any exercise, the moment your elbow flares out like this, right? Any shoulder rotation, hence the term rotation, your rotator cuffs are involved. Very small muscles, very strong muscles, but again, very often underworked, very tight because of a lot of the shoulder work involved in a lot of exercises. And a lot of people don't focus on actually loosening those areas up or pre-activating before doing a heavy set like a bench press or doing a heavy exercise like a bench press or a military press, right?
So what if I have the range for specifically bench press? What if I have the range of motion?
Yes, you can do that. You can go all the way.
If I have the flexibility, I guess mobility to be able to come down and it's easy for me, there's no pain. Should I do it or no? Like,
to be honest with you, at the end of the day, no matter what, like on a physiological level, like when you're going down below that point, you're not pushing with your chest to get that. From here to here, you're not pushing with your chest.
Yeah, it's something else.
You could even feel that right now.
Yeah,
it's
I never
straight
could.
From your shoulder girdle.
I could never. When I pass a certain point, when I press up,
anybody.
It's almost like
it's anybody.
It's something else.
Because hence why when you look at a power lifter's biomechanics, when they lift a heavy bench press, they put their back into it.
I mean, it's shoulder, isn't it?
Shoulder, and you're depressing. Yeah, but you're also using the upper back muscles at that point.
Yeah.
Hence why a power lifter, you'll see them up like this because you're not just using your chest at that point. You're
squeezing, pushing.
Yeah,
up
you're
kind of
using your pec major at a very, very minimal point at that. So in that sense, again, if you're trying to build like a regular person, then I would not go heavy at that point, or I would not train at that point. But what I would do is I would warm up from that point to increase your mobility and your flexibility. So I would train that range of motion, increase my mobility, and stretch out the actual muscles to be elasticized. But when I go to train I go heavier and heavier in my sets, I'm not going to actually drop down to that point. Hence, if there was a mistake made by me during a lift at any given time, my body is accustomed to being down at that point.
And just to specify, this is for the regular person that's in the gym.
Regular person.
Like you said, if there's a specific strategy that you need to implement because of the sport you're in or your
100%.
objective,
yes,
fine.
And
right?
we
Just because, look, man, every martial art, for example, every martial art takes you to a certain limit in terms of your body.
Yes.
There's a certain practice. Like judo, for example, there's a lot of those throws aren't good for your joints either.
But man, those guys are like in shape.
but that's my point. Like everything that we were talking about, all the exercises, a lot of the throws going through my head is like, shit, that's not good. This is shoulder impingement. This is all this, and this.
But at the same time, there's a certain form and technique that's in play.
Yes.
That if you were to break it down in very slow-mo, you can actually talk about the different muscles being engaged at any given time, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, when you go and just watch somebody just say, when you go and demonstrate a throw, somebody like, oh my God, that's so dangerous for the guy falling and for the guy that's throwing because his back is all screwed up and it's all contorted. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you have trained your muscles to kind of contort that way in an
Yes.
explosive manner and recover back into a neutral position.
Absolutely.
So, it's again, it's conducive. It has to be what's conducive to the either what you're currently doing in to be active sports or any given martial art or anything like that.
Yeah, powerlifting.
Yeah,
or whatever.
but if you're an average trainee that's just trying to get in shape, you got to watch your exercises. Here's a very good example. I want to talk about good mornings, right? You know the exercise good mornings. You're basically leaning in. We can do a little sample of a good morning for them, right? On a clip.
I don't do good mornings myself.
You know what? I would do it weightless or literally with like a broomstick. And I do that to get the range of motion and to stretch out my hamstrings and to get the range of motion in my hip hinging.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you why that exercise isn't the best for lower back development to begin with. Number one, you're putting your place in a very vulnerable position. You're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position when you're hinged over to begin with. Let alone that the weight is not in front of you. It's actually pretty much like very close to your neck. It's on your trap.
Upper trap kind of
upper
thing.
trap or whatever. Now, to go from that point upward, if you have that control that a lot of people that don't have, right? If you have like an athletic person or an intermediate advanced trainee, they have that, flexibility and mobility, and they know
Body
to keep,
control.
Yeah, body control. So here's your spine. When you exercise, your spine should either be straight, or straight.
Yes.
It should not be anything else different. Okay, so get that shit.
Shouldn't be like this.
Nothing like
or,
that.
Or hyper extend, right?
The problem with a lot of people who will do a hyperextension, or sorry, it's a back extension, they make it into a hyperextension, is I'm just going to stand up and demonstrate this. They're going to do this thing.
Yeah.
So now you see that my back is rounding and my vertebrae isn't actually connected anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not functioning at its best state. Let alone when I come back up from this position, I kind of separate my back. Whereas, an advanced trainee moves everything in tandem.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a lot of people
For a lot of people, that's really hard to do.
That's really hard.
That's
to do.
super hard to do.
You're moving your spine in one because remember the point of the movement is a hip hinge.
Yes.
And not a spinal tap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, let alone they can't even do that simple movement. Then they're gonna place heavy ass weight on them or heavier weight to do this exercise. And then they're coming out with soreness, but it's not muscle soreness anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's literally inflammation from doing something wrong or putting yourself in a bad position. It's different when you're deadlifting and you have the bar in front of you because it's not actually weighing you. Because if you look at here, if from a deadlift standpoint or a squat standpoint, it's going straight in line with my body.
Yeah.
If you're looking at me from a good morning standpoint, here's my weight, right? Where's the weight on? My neck.
Yeah.
It's no longer at the center point of my body.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not actually at the strongest point, right? So sorry if I kind of faded from the mic there. And a good morning, my weight is now on my neck, and it's not central to my actual spine or to my strongest point, which is my hip. Whereas when you deadlift, when you squat, you're lined up to drive with the most powerful part of your body.
Question for you: Would good mornings and stiff leg deadlifts be almost the same?
Very similar. But again, a stiff-legged deadlift, you can run towards the plane of where, like the alignment of your hip.
Yeah.
And a stiff-legged deadlift, the hardest thing with stiff-legged deadlifts is people's hamstrings. Hamstrings are very inflexible. So,
Well, imagine the good mornings.
same thing, exactly, same idea. So the stiff-legged deadlift, to actually activate and just, now if you're doing a stiff-legged deadlift to activate your lower back, your glute, your hamstring, yes, you stand up all the way, right? You come down, you stand up all the way. Now, when you go in, you want to focus just say on your hamstring and glute development, you shouldn't stand up all the way because after a certain point in time, it's your lower back that starts doing that movement. Now, your lower back is going to help no matter what because it's part of the movement. But if you want to keep that on your hamstring and on your glute, come down to where you are flexible enough and not actually stand up all the way. The second mistake that people make with the stiff-legged deadlifts is they come down too low, they don't have the flexibility in their hamstring, and again, that spine is rounding, disconnecting the vertebrae from each other. Okay, and so what that does, I place the importance of having your vertebrae kind of aligned is because that's the simplest way of innervation. When I say innervation, that means that is your brain sending out, signals to fire your muscles, right? So all the nerves that are being sent to your brain happens best with a straight spine, because that's where it gets sent from. That's where the messages get sent from. When you have a disconnection, then what happens is that there's a muscle that flexes a fraction of a second too late.
Done.
What is the biggest time the two most vulnerable times you have during a lift to get injured are: one, when you're picking up the weight to start the exercise, or two, your very last rep and you don't put it down properly. Why is that? Is because you start to disconnect the body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when you disconnect from the exercise, like that split second too early when you're done.
It starts off with mental disconnection. I'm done.
Yeah.
As in, I'll do a curl and I'll just kind of whatever. Or I'll say I'll do a bent over row, right? I'm doing a bent over row. My last rep, I squeeze it, and instead of putting it down for a controlled negative, I'll just kind of drop it while still standing up at the same time. Again, you've disconnected that connection to your body. Yeah. You don't want to disconnect that thing, because you want to make sure that your spine is working in alignment. That's why,
that's what when those things that those guys were doing, where they lift heavy and then they drop it, and then they lift heavy again.
Yes.
When I look at that, sometimes like, man, that's dangerous shit.
No, you know what? I actually got into doing pendley rows, which is that boom, boom. But
you could do that so wrong though too, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. The reason why I do it and I like doing it is because I know to stay strict doing it. Yeah. So boom. But even on the way down, my back doesn't move.
I see some people do it so wrong, man.
Yeah, so what I do see, again, is this.
Yeah, dude. Okay? Oh, man.
So that's you're throwing your body.
I see some people do that shit. I'm like,
now, the proper way to do a pendley row.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yeah, I see such
I'm anchoring with my elbows. My body's connected the whole time.
Yeah.
My hip is hinged. It's straight through. And it's a strong motion the whole way through. And even on my way down, I'm still.
I
still carry the load.
But and that's what I'm saying. Like, something like that is actually more advanced than people think.
It's very advanced.
You think it's just squeezing up and then you're throwing it down. It's not. It's so different than that.
Well, just like you get a lot of CrossFit gyms, and you get a lot of these boot camps that they do a one-arm snatch with a dumbbell, alternating, whatever, and they do it heavy. Right? But I mean, literally, to get a snatch going is a lot tougher than people think. It's a more advanced movement.
Oh, it's a very advanced movement.
Right? Because remember, when we first opened, we used to use those things all the time.
Yeah.
A lightweight, whatever.
A lighter weight, yeah.
But now we say, okay, you know what? There's a time and place to use those things.
Yeah.
And a group class setting with mixed levels of trainees is not the best place for it.
No.
Right? Because we've identified, listen, first of all, out of 36 people, 40 people in a class, can everybody do this in a perfect, manner? Because that's what you need. That mobility is what you need to be able to throw a snatch up to begin with.
Yeah.
Let alone that movement of from the ground, straight body, going up, right? So, again, there's going to be a lot of exercise you're going to see out there. And the reason why we wanted to cover this, because there's so many YouTube channels out there right now. There's so many exercise platforms.
On Instagram, too.
There's a lot. Right? And everybody wants to look cool in the gym, man.
Well, did you see that one where they're on a Swiss ball and doing squats, barbell squats?
Oh my God.
Do you see that? That's nuts. I mean, okay.
I could do body weight squats on a ball, but I would not put a barbell up on myself.
They're doing the barbell.
Jesus
Christ. They're doing barbell squats on a Swiss ball.
You guys got to remember too, or you girls, guys, a lot of people that you'll see, let's just say, doing these in these training platforms and online, this is what they do all day, every single friggin' day. That's what they do. They are paid to work out or exercise or endorse fitness, or they're in the fitness business, and that's all they do. So for the average weekend warrior that's going to go in there, or somebody that just wants to lose weight, you're not going to perform the exercise because you're not going to activate, a lot of the muscles that you want to be activating within that exercise.
Well, I mean, you hope to God that they're just doing that for show. You just hope to God. I don't see anybody really implementing that into their training program through the day, because I don't see anywhere where that would fit, because that doesn't make any sense, right? Even doing just do it on a BOSU or something. Not even a barbell thing on a BOSU. Like, You know, what are you trying to achieve at that point?
And I think like when watching,
Because that's dangerous. That's so dangerous.
yeah, like when
guy.
watching these fitness professionals or whatever, these people who endorse fitness now online, you got to look at one, what is their training level? Where is their level of training at physically? How many years they've been doing? Like, and where are you at? If you're within that 1 to 3 year range, 1 to 5 year range, man, or or 0 to you should not be trying all that stuff.
Don't stand on the Swiss ball if you don't need to, man.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to have fun, do it like as a one-off, but with mats around and But it's not
learn
worth
to mess around properly.
Mess around properly. Don't do that with a barbell, especially dude, with barbell with plates on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so you have to be able to differentiate. Like, there's some stuff that are being posted that it's obvious that these guys and girls, they just want to get the views. They're just putting out exercises which is whatever. But please just be smart. Like, fancy doesn't mean it's effective. And fancy, just to get views and stuff like that. As a fitness professional, if you have a following and you're a fitness professional, you have to really watch what you're posting sometimes, because it could hurt other people. Because sometimes, and there are a lot of people who would try to follow your shit and they end up getting hurt.
Actually, you know what? I had written part of that. The balancing act exercises, because we used to have a trainer that worked with us back in Premier and Summit Extreme too. Like they have all these balancing exercises for their clients on one leg, holding this thing, tossing a ball on the other, which is great proprioception.
Yes.
Fantastic if you're fucking Kobe Bryant. If you're
yeah,
Tiger Woods. Not great if you're like a 50-year-old woman trying to drop 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just redundant.
It's just redundant. It's just stupid. You're actually better off as anybody that wants to train their stability and balance. Forget the Bosu ball, forget anything else. Stand on one goddamn foot.
Yeah.
And stand there for 30 seconds and then stand on the other one.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you don't even maximize the muscles in your foot. If you currently walk like this and your toes aren't spread, which I know nobody walks around like that, you're not maximizing your balance. I don't even know how to
spread my toes.
Exactly. See, to even do that, to control that alone will get your stability right up.
Through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
It's all the small muscles in your foot, your ankle, your knees, your hips, your core is going to be.
Stand up straight and put your leg up.
Yeah,
that's hard.
Just stand up with one damn leg. You don't need to go on a Bosu ball, toss something against the wall, have a barbell on your back. It's just redundant shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're, this is an extra added bonus for people. If you're a beginner / intermediate, so by that meaning you've trained maybe about anywhere from 1 year to 4 or 5 years, you should be training within like around the 65 to 85% range.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Perfect. So that's exactly so what that looks like is that your heart rate should be no less than 135 at your working and no higher than 175. 175 is even quite a lot, but that should be that's at the 85% range. Okay, you should be out of breath, but not like to the point where but you should not be able to hold a conversation like we're having right now. It should be tough to do that if you're working within that range. So say in a 1 hour workout at around the 20-minute range, 25-minute range, you should start getting up to those paces of about 150 beats a minute, 140 beats a minute, depending on what you're doing for exercise as well. If you're doing a set of 8 reps, your 7th should be difficult. Your 8th should be that much harder. And by that, I mean, you should be able to still get the weight up without swinging your body, without swaying your body, or without cheating. Right? So you should be training within that range. You should be, slightly sweating. Some people will sweat more than others, depending on their glands, depending on the weather and whatnot. But you should generally be a little bit out of breath, but not so out of breath where you're gasping for air. Yes, you will see professional athletes go to that point because their body is taken to that point when they're when they're playing their actual sport, when they're doing their craft. So they need to train themselves into that high intensity,
quick recoveries.
And again, as we spoke in previous episodes about periodization and phases, you're not training like that all year long. So please, people, don't try to do these fancy things that everybody else is doing. Weigh it out first. Is this a benefit to you? Is this going to be conducive to what you're trying to achieve with your body in this current stage? And is it conducive to your current fitness level?
Yeah, that's a big one too.
That's really what it is. Your fitness level.
Should I be doing this right now?
Yeah, and you know
I mean,
what?
have aspirations then. If you want to do some fancy stuff, have aspirations, but be self-aware if you can or can't do that, and then make a plan to get there.
And you know what? The biggest thing, if you really want to look cool in the gym, there's nothing cooler than actually coming in there, 6 weeks later, and you look different, and you're training with good form. You're not butchering the exercise. You're not swinging. You're actually flexing, squeezing. And the best part is you're going to keep coming in week after week with changes to your body and physique. That's how you're going to look cool.
Amen.
Not standing on a fucking Swiss ball with a barbell or doing a fucking heavy-ass good morning, and then you chop your neck in half. All right?
That's not cool.
If you have any suggestions or any questions about this, I would love to hear from you. Please get at us. Keep it simple, stupid. All
Get
right,
us at strengthnu, strengthnu on Instagram. Hit us up. That's the best place to do it. Thanks for listening. If you got value from this, please share it with your friends. Give us a thumbs up and rate our podcast.
And if you're stressed, feed the birds.
All right. Cheers.